fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on? Let's recapitulate. This past month has been pretty hectic. I started to learn what my city was and used to be. It opened my mind, realizing that it was all right here. I didn't have to go anywhere to see the things that are talked about, like the old world and old civilizations and previous humanities, resets. I didn't have to go anywhere to see that, to see proof. It was all right beneath my feet the entire time. Right in front of my fucking eyes. They just weren't open. I was sleeping for so long. And then I woke up. I woke up to a whole new world. A world that I didn't know. That was very scary. I woke up to a world that didn't make any sense. I mean, it made complete sense, but it can be so hard to wrap your head around these types of ideas that you just ride a fine line between trying to make sense of it all and thinking you're crazy at the same time. That's definitely what people think of me, amongst other things. But it's fair to say, because I've been told that, I'm just going through things. Having a mental health crisis or a psychotic episode, or I'm going crazy, or I heard that somebody said that I was going through something on a spiritual level, and that made me feel like at least that person understood me somewhat. They knew enough to realize that I'm still a functioning human being that is a spiritual being as well, that has thoughts and ideas that we don't have to fucking shun them for immediately. And that was surprising from who it's coming from, but not really, because they've always been nice. Funny thing is, nobody wants to talk to me. People want to... Apparently my family is praying for me. And people want to help me. And get me help. But nobody's talking to me. I think it's funny how we talk about other people with other people, thinking that we're doing something productive or useful at all, when really you're just fucking gossiping. Gossiping behind someone's back, developing ideas about that person, developing your thinking, your conception of their portrait in your head without ever actually talking to that person. Never having a conversation. I think my thinking is that people are just scared of me. They're scared of what I might say. Scared of is that it? What else could they be scared of? They wouldn't be scared of me doing any physical harm to them or acting out in some obscene, psychotic, crazy way. Because I haven't given anybody any reason to think I would do that. So they've got to just be scared of what I might say. And what would I say if somebody tried to have a conversation with me on a personal level, coming to me thinking that I want to help this person by talking to them, trying to understand where they're coming from, and showing support for them. If somebody does that, well, yeah, no, people just don't seem to be capable of doing that. For anybody, really. When, in all reality, that's all anybody ever really needs. Is just someone to sit down with them, and try to have a half-decent conversation. And try to understand where this person is coming from. And you might not understand in the end, but if you keep an open mind and show support, then what negatives could come out of something like that? But nobody can do that because they're just too fucking scared of what somebody else might say. But what are you scared of? What are you scared of? What would somebody say that could affect your life so drastically that you're just too scared to ever even have a conversation with the person? Have I said that many obscene and okay, yeah, that's not fair. I've definitely said plenty of things that would make somebody not want to talk to me, I guess. I suppose they'd be scared that, that's all I want to talk about. Maybe. Don't get me wrong. I love a good conspiracy theory. Because the good ones are real, and they explain so much of this realm once you come to understand them in some way. So I love a good fucking conspiracy theory. But I don't need to talk about them 24/7. I don't bring them up in every conversation I have. I'm not trying to push my opinion on anybody. If anything, if conspiracy theories ever got brought up in a conversation I'm having with somebody, it's fun to talk about. Like, what's so wrong with just talking about some cool, fun theories that may or may not be real? What's so wrong with that? Why are you so fucking scared to break out of the box a little bit? That's what it is, though. I think this box that a lot of people are they're not really trapped in it. I was going to say that they're trapped in the box, but they're keeping themselves in the box because they can get out whenever they want. They really can. But I think they're keeping themselves in this box because it's comfortable. It's a nice, comfortable little box where you've mapped out your surroundings. You know what's on each wall. Maybe you've put up some decorations to spruce it up a little bit. You know you've got a foundation and a ceiling. And then that's all there is. Then you tell yourself that's all there is. Then you begin to believe that's all there is. And then you start fighting for your box, thinking that your belief in your four walls and ground and ceiling, that's what's real. And if anybody opposes what's real to you, well, bucko, we're gonna have a tussle. Not even though, because people won't even go that far. Their box will keep them away from all conflict. It's a nice, comfortable little box to stay in. And when somebody shows you something that's outside of that box, or tells you about something that could possibly be out there, something that isn't in your box, well, that person, they must be crazy, because I know my box, and my box is all that there is. My box is what I've lived in my whole life. People love their boxes. They really do. And we can't say boxes are a bad thing because people love their boxes. And that's their choice. You all have a right to stay in your boxes for as long as you'd like. You can live in that box till the day you die. And you'll die knowing, believing, that's all there ever was the box you lived in, and that you lived your best life with that box. Now, I hope people don't do that. I want people to step out of their boxes a little bit. I think it's good to test the boundaries a little bit. Maybe poke a few holes in your box so you can see the light of day that's on the outside. Maybe eventually you'll open up the top of the box to peek your head out. See what's actually out there, outside of your box. Now, that doesn't mean you have to get out of your box immediately. You can go back inside and be all nice and comfortable again and feel all cozy. I'd have to say, though, I think once you get that far where you're taking a peek out of your box, there might not be any going back permanently. Because once you've seen what's outside of your box, once you've really seen what's out there, you can't stay in your box forever anymore. Something inside of you will force you to take a second look, because it'll be forcing you to think about it. You're not going to be able to just forget about the crazy, amazing things you saw that were outside of the box, that you never believed were real, because you believed your whole life that this is all there is in this box. And then, in an instant, you can realize that there's so much more. There's so much more this world has to offer than to stay in a box for the rest of your life. There's so much we could do. Especially if we come together. If a bunch of people get out of their boxes and start mingling around. Here's the thing. I got out of that box a good long time ago. And every time I stepped my foot back inside for a short while, or climbed back in for a bit, I always knew it wasn't real. I just didn't vibe with it anymore. It didn't interest me. It wasn't cool anymore. It didn't inspire any thinking at all, that's for sure. Because the box is a fucking box. The box stays the same. You know what you're getting out of that box. And some people really like that. It makes them really comfortable. And that's their right to stay in that box for the rest of their life. I hope you don't do that, because I want more people to step out of their boxes and be a little bit comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's the goal, is to find comfort in discomfort. Do you know what I mean? Alright. That was a bit of a long tangent. Back to you. And who you are. And how you got here. I chose the path I'm on. 100%. I chose this path. That doesn't mean I have to be ecstatic about it all the time and think everything's perfect. It's definitely not perfect. This is not a perfect path to be on. It's a very rough one. Like I said, I'm going through the greatest amount of suffering I've ever been through right now. That's what I'm supposed to do, though. That's the path. That's the path I have chosen. And in so doing, I'm dealing with a lot of shit. And not just shit, but bullshit too. I have to deal with shit and bullshit. I think shit is harder to deal with because bullshit is usually just stupid stuff that comes out of people's mouths that they don't even think about. It just comes spilling out of their mouth and they hardly even remember what is said. That's some bullshit. Shit is different. It's real. You can't deny the shit that this world puts you through. If you begin to deny all the shit that is out there, then you live in a world of kitsch. Because you can't deny that God shits. You can't. Well, you can, but then you live in a world of kitsch. That is the original idea. Where kitsch is this ideal world in which we have a God, a supreme being, who is all-powerful, omnipotent, everywhere, all at once, that doesn't shit. Because if something like that had to take a dump, then they would just lose all validity, all credibility. Goes right out the window when you have to take a shit. How could you be omnipotent, all powerful, all knowing, and still have to take a shit? Well, we can believe that God doesn't shit. That it's only something we animals do, because we're just filthy little animals that run around and put shit in our bodies and then shit it out. What more do I want to say? It feels like a lot, but it doesn't feel like I'm getting much to come out. I'm just going to talk about myself for a little bit, I think. Because I need some therapy. So, let's see what Athanasius can give to Anthony. I have flipped my entire life upside down. I went from living in a nice house to now living in a shitty car. I went from getting a college education to dropping out and working part-time jobs. I went from having a fiance after being in a relationship with her for 5 years to having no one. I have destroyed everything that Anthony was. Who is that I speaking? I'm not even sure. But I do know what was said is true. The old Anthony is gone. He's not coming back. That's right. I've changed. I've changed a lot. I've become who I am, and now I am being who I am. And that is just too much for people. Plain and simple. I am who I am, and that makes people uncomfortable. I kind of like that part of it, though. I've been thinking for a while now that, like, yeah, I like to make people uncomfortable. That's kind of why I do some of the things I do. It's some wake-up call on a minor scale every time you make somebody uncomfortable. Whether it's changing your appearance and wearing something, or putting something on your nails. Because you don't know what's, if anything, is going to make who, if anybody, uncomfortable. Somebody can get uncomfortable for anything, really. There's no way you'll be able to predict what's going to trigger somebody. But there's definitely general things you can do, say, wear, appear as, to know that you'll make at least some people uncomfortable in the end. I chose the path that I'm on. And every day, I choose to keep following it. This path has I've lost everything. Following this path. I lost all of my quote unquote friends. I lost the love of my life. I lost all the trust my family had in me. Which never seemed to be much. I lost myself. Whoever Anthony was is gone. He's lost forever now. In time, I will rise from the ashes. Reborn as a new version of who I am. But this is all just from an outsider's perspective. Because from my own perspective, I know who I am. Always. I know that this was meant to happen, that this had to happen for any progress to be made. What is progress? How do we know when any is being made?